The act of reciting the great compassion mantra. We often mention and tell those with faith that when reciting the great compassion mantra, it brings merits. It has merits like this. The merits of reciting the great compassion mantra are that this person encounters misfortune turn into good fortune, encounters fierce beasts. Then these fierce beasts cannot harm you. Encounter enemies who come to harm you, and the enemies must retreat immediately. Encounter rebellious and troublesome children who do not kill directly with a knife, but harm your spirit to the point of death. Reciting the great compassion mantra over time dissolves karma, breaking the bond of karma between you and them. They cannot do anything to you. Reciting the great compassion mantra is like chanting the Buddha's name or Avalokiteshvara's name. If someone is devoted and sincere, they will achieve results and all karmic obstacles will be transformed. And while reciting the mantra hard when troubled, chanting Avalokiteshvara's name is most responsive, quickest, and needs least effort. If sick, you get medicine, bring it back. The vehicle carries medicine back. No need for a cart with mules and camels. Just one name of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva and you will be cured. Believe me, I am not deceiving you. I must admit, the compassion of this person is truly incredible. But when you recite the great compassion mantra and you use your breath to chant, taking a deep breath, it generates an internal energy from the breath. Therefore, those who recite the great compassion mantra have a formidable energy that is quite astonishing. The lamas who can sit outside in freezing cold weather. They sit and invite for 10 days or so, and they don't mind the place, the mantra, or anyone else. They use the mantra as their main practice, and that main mantra is the great compassion dharana. Many Buddhas resonate with the mantra, and as part of practice, it transforms the practitioner. Buddhas and bodhisattvas from all directions protect and support safeguarding body and home, known as body and national protection. In China, there was an epidemic almost like Corona during the time when Venerable Tianhua was still in China. Several decades ago, it was severe. In that house, 11 people died, but 13 people. Why did 11 people cause 13 deaths? There was a friend and an additional family member. 13 people died from the epidemic. He gathered 12 children, 11 to 12 years old, to recite the great compassion mantra 108 times. 10 days later, the area was free from the epidemic and everyone was cured. He said that the epidemic was overcome by reciting the great compassion mantra for 10 days along with 12 children. He mentioned the children were pure and calm, and their recitation was special. Reciting the great compassion mantra, Venerable Tianhua said, after 12 days with them, the epidemic completely disappeared. This is the truth, because the great compassion mantra cures 84,000 illnesses, among which the corona disease, the COVID-19 epidemic, immediately retreats upon encountering it. Do you believe it? Certainly. Guaranteed. AIDS, right? Corona, right? Encounter the great compassion and it retreats immediately. Because the great compassion mantra, as said by the 1,000-handed bodhisattva, has the power to eliminate 84,000 types of illnesses. Do you believe it? We believe in the words of the Buddha, but we haven't recited it enough. And when we encounter problems and recite, sometimes we don't have enough strength to withstand it. There is a Buddhist woman in Oregon. We talked with Mr. Thuong last night. He drove us around a bit. We mentioned that there was a woman who contracted COVID. She is at MetFat in Oregon. Lying there still, taking Paradol, no other medicine. In the US, they lack a medicine yet. Diagnosed as a COVID infection, no medicine. Recovered in hospital, feared spread, closed the door, chanted mantra till over. Her name is Ms. Nupur, and she often recites the Great Compassion Mantra. But at that time, she could only listen, while lying there because she was too exhausted to recite, as COVID had already infected her. She started having difficulty breathing, had a fever, and lost balance in her body, unable to eat or drink. It had penetrated her body. Normally one would die, but she kept holding on, struggling, until the month ended. Are you still afraid of COVID today? Not afraid. Why? Because I recite the Great Compassion Mantra. So today we sum it up by saying that the power of the Great Compassion Mantra, reciting Avalokiteshvara, reciting Buddha, seems simple, but is beyond comprehension. It's called the inconceivable power of the mantra. Recite it 108 times, 54 times, or at least as the patriarch suggests, 25 times a day. Don't skip it. Try it. Try it for 3 months. The important thing is not to give up. You'll start to notice your body beginning to change, becoming unusually diligent and spirited. You'll start to produce results immediately. And the issues that come to you will be resolved very quickly. Instead of bad things happening to you, right? They turn into good things. Instead of your mind thinking bad thoughts, right? It naturally turns into thinking good thoughts. This is called the Dharma always revolving. Every day it constantly revolves within our body and mind. It begins to change our body and mind. Remember that in China, a letter sent Master Yin Guang, the house burned down. Husband chanted Buddha's name, stayed calm. He understood wealth is temporary and can be rebuilt. What happened to the wife? She went mad. She went mad, didn't know anything. She shed clothes. Master Yin Guang had to write a letter to him and advised him to silently recite the Great Compassion Mantra and dedicate the merit to her because her practice was too weak. So when she faced the loss of the house, she went insane. Listen to this part. Listen carefully to this part. Losing the house, losing the husband, losing the child. It's not as bad as this body preparing to die. This body is preparing to die. Leaving this body behind is even more terrifying. But does anyone get past this stage? Is there anyone who doesn't die or doesn't get sick? No one can avoid this. The child dies, right? Sad for a while when one child dies, but there are others. Even if they all die, it's not the end. Then you start to return to yourself. Losing everything, going mad, but over time you can recover. But when the doctor tells you this body is preparing to die, whether from cancer or the end of life, you will truly understand its horror. Without the Great Compassion Mantra, the heart teachings of the Buddha, or reciting the Buddha's name to calm it, it panics. It fears like it's like being in a landslide, but the ground slips away. It collapses with a crash, and in an instant, this body disintegrates. Warmth is lost, breath is lost, as if the sky itself has fallen. Dear friends, without your mind, without the mantra, without reciting the Buddha's name, without the Buddha's teachings to protect you, you'll fall into ruin. If reborn human, 49 days finding a body is hard. For those chanting Avalokiteshvara, the Great Compassion, mantra blesses, they leave this body, gain another. If you create bad karma, you'll fall into hell. Believe it? Believe it, believe in what we are saying, clearly stated in the scriptures. This conversation is important, so focus and listen carefully. Listen. This story. Recently there was a lady from Bentray who came up. This lady is very filial, very devoted. She was meeting with us and said, "Dear teacher, I thank you. Today, I brought my child and myself here to ask you for refuge, teacher. I will tell you about a miraculous event I don't know. If you will believe it, teacher, but I think you will, since you advocated for reciting the Great Compassion Mantra. My ancestor recites it at least 50 times a day and at most 75 times. I followed your advice, teacher. When I started following your advice, I had a chest tumor. I kept hiding it all the time. Eventually, it swelled up, turned red, and I couldn't hide it anymore. My husband was extremely worried. The whole family was worried. Then I heard the teacher say that Master Yin Guang taught that for incurable diseases, one should vow for rebirth. If one's lifespan is not yet over, the illness will be cured. But if the lifespan is over, one will achieve rebirth. Hearing this, I said that now only rebirth can relieve my husband and me from worry. Rebirth, so there's nothing to worry about. I didn't say I wanted rebirth, as I feared my husband wouldn't allow it since he doesn't understand the teachings. In my heart, I recited the Great Compassion Mantra 21 times and chanted the Buddha's name, still going to work as usual, but dedicated. I prayed for renewal, not the cure of my breast cancer.
skip the radiation therapy. Her husband and everyone urged her to stop. Radiation causes hair loss. Does mom want to die just to look good? Wanting to look good even in death. But they said that just to stop her from going, this woman is about 30 to 40 years old. What happened in the end? Chanted the Great Compassion Mantra 21 times a day for 3 months. That night, she saw an old woman in a beautiful white dress. Holding a bowl, she pressed it against her breast and said to expel the pus. She followed suit, pressing with her hand, and a bowl of pus came out. She pressed on the other breast, and another bowl of pus came out. The old woman then said, "It's all gone now." She wondered why. After pressing out the pus, the old woman said it was all gone. In her heart, she suddenly thought, maybe it's because of chanting the Great Compassion Mantra that Guan Yin came. But she just thought that. The next morning, she felt it starting to dry up. A week later, it was completely flat, back to normal. Gosh. We saw Master Yin Guang mention that illnesses, when wishing for rebirth in the Western Pure Land, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas bless one to be healthy for rebirth. Understand? But if someone wishes to be cured of their illness, then they oppose the Buddha's vow. They should self-care and medication. But medicine cannot change karma, and it cannot extend one's lifespan. It assists. This is the subtle point Master Yin Guang said. Anyone who wants rebirth will have the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas ensure their body and mind feel cool and healthy. But those who don't want rebirth and just want to recover are clinging to the 5 aggregates. The 5 aggregates: form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness are illusory. Clinging to them opposes the Buddhas and their vows. We hold on to illness and this body, possibly ending up in another womb. If not, then what? Inner womb of an animal. This principle is wonderful. Master Yin Guang said, only bodhisattvas like Avalokiteshvara can understand the miraculous power of the Great Compassion Mantra. Only Buddhas can understand the merit of reciting the Buddha's name. The fragrance of the sutra. As for ordinary people, they are low to the ground. Their thoughts are scattered and unfocused. Reciting the Buddha's name is like calling out dad, mom. Saying this makes people lose faith and fall into ruin. This lady said that today the Buddha's name never leaves her mind. She heard the teacher say to breathe Amitabha Buddha. She feels very healthy, Ukita, and eats very little. She doesn't eat in the evening. I sleep 2-3 hours, 3-4 hours, and then wake up and recite the Buddha's name. Sooner or later, I must follow Father Amitabha and return to that place. The child doesn't say anything. Father, is Amitabha Buddha kept a lotus flower for me, teacher? Who can say this? Only someone who recites the Buddha's name can say this. When they can recite the Buddha's name like that, and they tell their parents to recite it, their parents will definitely recite it. Now they speak with sincerity, with a true heart, not deceiving their parents. Today we say that the Buddha's name is so precious that only a Buddha and another Buddha can truly know and believe it. The broad and long tongue, forming the words of the Buddha in the east, west, south, north, above, and below. The Buddhas of the 10 directions have broad and long tongues, forming the words of the Buddha. They do not deceive us.